Welcome back to Daily Dose. For the first time in 17 years, a U.S. aircraft carrier docked in Israeli waters. The USS H.W. Bush is off the coast of the northern port city of Haifa. The ship is 1,100 feet long. That's more than 3.5 football fields long. It's taller than the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and is powered by 2 nuclear reactors. Our senior defense correspondent Shai Ben-ari went aboard the massive ship for a look around.
The USS George H.W. Bush, one of the world's largest warships, is currently anchored off the port of Haifa in northern Israel. The aircraft carrier, named after the 41st President of the United States, is too big to sail into the Haifa harbor, so he had to be ferried out to its location in the Haifa Bay. As we approached, a unique guard of honor accompanied us.
Wow!
This floating city can carry nearly 6,000 people. It's powered by 2 nuclear reactors, and it's 20 stories high.
We're currently making our way through the body of this ship. I lost count exactly how many floors we've already climbed, but they say there's about 4 more to go until we reach our first destination, so it's a big one.
Our first stop was the pilot hatch, where the ship is steered, and where we could get a good view of the carrier air wing, which for the past 5 months has been involved in an intensive air campaign as part of Operation Inherent Resolve, the mission to annihilate the so-called Islamic State.
We are about 1,600 sorties in support of Operation Inherent Resolve, again, over the 5 months that we've been deployed, and we've employed just a little over 1,400 weapons in that context.
We're now on the flight deck of the USS George H.W. Bush. You can see behind me here there's a group of F-18s, and you can see the pilots there walking towards the planes. There's actually 75 aircraft on board this carrier. As we speak, it can carry even more than that. And to my left here, you can see what's known as the island. This is really both air traffic control as well as where they basically steer and navigate the ship from. We're talking about an aircraft carrier which can actually launch 4 planes at the same time simultaneously.
Sometimes there are pre-planned target strikes. Other times we send our attack aircraft out with various weapons to act in a more protective role and to be able to respond to the situation as it evolves on the ground.
One of these F-18s was responsible for downing a Syrian regime fighter jet last month. And the air wing has also been involved in recent clashes with Iran-backed militias fighting alongside the regime.
The airspace in this region is very, very busy with lots of different actors, and so the need to deconflict that and make sure that everyone understands their mission is very, very important.
The arrival of the carrier was also an opportunity for the Israeli Prime Minister to underline once again the country's alliance with the United States. It was a sentiment echoed by Admiral Michelle Howard, commander of U.S. naval forces in Europe.
Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us today. You are a witness to what is a special bond between our nations, our people, and our navies.
Following the 4th of July holiday, the carrier will resume its mission against Islamic State in the eastern Mediterranean after a few days of leave. For I24NEWS, Shai Ben-ari, the USS George H.W. Bush.
Happy to say Shai has returned to dry land. In fact, he's with me now in studio.
It's good to be back.
Thank you, Shai. Obviously, this is a massive aircraft carrier, has dozens of fighter jets, thousands of U.S. sailors. Why exactly is it here in Israel now?
It's mainly here for a break. These guys have been on this current deployment for about 5 months since the beginning of the year, and indeed it's a very intensive sort of experience. Just from speaking to crew members on board, you know, it can get pretty intense and even boring in a sense of just, you know, being at sea without always a lot to do. Of course, there are the airstrikes ongoing against Islamic State in different
locations. Where it was in the Arabian Gulf before.
Right, indeed. It actually passed through the Suez Canal back in March. Before that, it was actually sailing up the Strait of Hormuz along the coast of Iran. There was, in fact, a confrontation there with Iranian forces with 2 fast attack boats approaching very aggressively back in March. It was perceived as a very irresponsible, reckless behavior by the commanders of this ship. It fortunately ended with no shots fired.
So now it's a little R&R here, basically. Right. So it's in town. I guess it's off the coast for another day. Are these sailors going to Haifa? Are they able to leave the ship? Are they hanging out, enjoying Israel?
They certainly are. As we boarded the ship, we could see sailors coming off, sailors coming on. Yeah, they're getting a chance to go around Israel, Jerusalem, even Tel Aviv.
So it's not lost, obviously, on these American sailors. It's 4th of July. They're spending it in Israel. tomorrow they're going to have a drink at Mike's place or something?
Probably. Yeah, they certainly, I would think that Israel is an opportunity for them to relax a bit in what is a fairly hostile neighborhood. And I got the sense they appreciated the visit.
For you, what was it like being on the ship? We saw in that package you can get lost in all of those stairs. Thankfully, you're in great shape, so all those, the hike up to the top wasn't that bad. But,
I'll tell you, my legs still ache a little bit.
Really?
It's very rigorous sort of climbing exercise you had to do just to reach the flight deck there. We're talking about 20 stories overall if you count the island itself, the control tower, you could say. So the massive space that you have in there, a lot of it was sealed off to us. We couldn't obviously access every part of the ship, but it's basically a city floating on the water. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience to see something like that.
I'm glad you came back safely to dry land.